Yeah, so with a question like this one, right, the one thing to remember is, again, you see we're dealing with a lot of 90 here, you see. And we say that's the only time you go from cos to sine and from sine to cos. So as long as you can remember that, you're fine. Because the first thing here is we can just draw out our cast diagram. After drawing out our cast diagram, we have the, let's see, so there's 0, 90, 180, 270, 360, like that. So as long as you have that, we know that 90 plus is in quadrant, right? 90 plus theta, it's in this quadrant, of which, as long as we can remember that, we're good to go. We don't have to worry about anything. So moving on to our actual question, right? We can see here, it says there, what does it say here? Our actual question says your cos 90 plus, right? So cos 90 plus means we end up in this quadrant, of which in this quadrant only sine is a positive. So even though we are changing it to a sign, you use what you're coming from to choose a sign here, of which you're going to put a negative there, because in this quadrant only sine is a positive, but then we're dealing with cos here. The next one, we also have to keep in mind, anytime you see that two things are being multiplied together, don't forget that, because if you forget that, you end up getting mixed up, and that's when things go wrong. So in this situation, we already know that here again, cos 90 minus, we know it's in this quadrant. You see, this is the quadrant 90 minus. Everything is a positive here. However, since we're dealing with the cos, this has to become a sine, you see. And then down here, we have to keep things nice and slow. So the fortunate thing is, remember, 90 is a special angle. So you don't have to worry about changing anything. You can just put that in your calculator, really, like legit, because 90 minus, you can just throw it in your calculator. Your calculator is going to give you a 0. The reason your calculator is going to give you a 0 is because with a standard cos graph, there's 0 here, 90 over there, 270 over there, and then 360 at the end. In the middle, you have 180. So cos 90, you know that your graph will be at 0. Cos 90 is a 0. So even if you used your calculator, it's fine. This will just come out as a 0 plus the cos theta there. We don't have to do anything to it. So let me even just write cos theta on its own here, because this is just 0 plus cos theta. So it's just cos theta. And then here, cos 90 again, we know that's just going to be a 0. And then remember, this is giving us a minus cos theta. So we're multiplying these two. This is where brackets really show their importance, because now we know at the top we have negative sine squared theta. The bottom will also have negative cos squared theta. You see, of which this cancels that. It's a sine over a cos. Even though they are squared, it just means you're going to have tan theta squared, like that. You see?
Yes.
Yeah. And that will be that with these kinds of questions. So that's the